Your clap.
We don't know the episode. Are we starting?
Yeah, we're starting. Yeah. So,
Okay, so we're on episode we don't know because we've done so many episodes. You know what we'll do? We'll do a shout out to our millions of viewers and ask them if anybody knows what episode number this
Hi,
is.
Mom.
Yeah. Moms.
Yeah.
Each of our moms is watching. Although I don't think all of our moms are actually watching.
My mom is.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so today we want to do a podcast about a great topic, which is whether people vote for or against a presidential candidate. Okay? So, in other words, this election we had Trump and Harris, right? So, are people voting for Trump? Are they voting for Harris? Or are they voting against Trump and against Harris by casting a vote for the other party? What do you think?
I am going to share my personal experience, which was voting against another candidate.
What about you, Chris? Did you vote for a candidate or against it? Although you're so young, you probably didn't even vote.
Chris.
Well, my attitude. Well, no, I mean, my
Did
attitude.
you vote, Chris? Chris, did you vote?
Of course I did.
Okay.
Good.
I was standing in line, waiting
the line
for.
was
No.
so
Now you know
long.
he didn't vote because he's giving us too many details.
Exactly.
Because whenever you want to BS someone, give them a lot of like unique details. There was a red bird flying across, and everybody was
Yeah.
like, "Wow, did you see that red bird over there?"
I was standing with this girl named Emily, and we went in there. We voted.
You voted in the same booth or separate
It was
booths?
a separate booth.
All right,
Yeah,
maybe he
see,
did vote.
see?
Now, did you vote for or against a candidate?
I think this time around it was definitely against.
Okay. And I
How about you,
also
Tom?
voted against a candidate, right?
Yep.
So all three of us, and I don't want to know who you guys voted against
Nope.
because that's not what this is about.
Nope.
But I do want to discuss that topic of are we voting for or against candidates in general? So here's the thing. If you're voting against candidates, the morning after, are you really happy if the person you voted against didn't win? As much as if you voted for a candidate, you'd be happy that they did win, right?
Exactly. Yes. It's way more fun to vote and have a winner than it is to vote and have a loser or
And be happy about the loser.
Exactly.
Right? You're not happy about who you got. You're just happy that it wasn't the other person.
the lesser of two evils.
The lesser of two evils. That's what it's called, right?
It's unfortunate.
Yeah. So in 2008, I started thinking, 2008 and 2012, I was thinking about this topic, right? And you guys might remember, but in 2008, it was Obama against John McCain. John McCain hired a woman named Sarah Palin to be his vice presidential running mate. In fact, there was like a Netflix special or something about her, which terrified people because she didn't know a lot. She wasn't qualified for the job, right?
Yep.
Even if you liked her, my mom loved Sarah Palin, right? I said, Mom, why do you like her so much? She just seems like somebody that would be just like me. So I said, well, Mom, would you make a good president? And she
Great
paused.
question.
She paused. No, I don't think I would. I said, well, she's just like you. Now, I don't know how good or bad she was, but I know a lot of people did not want her to be the VP, right? Because if McCain dies, she'd become the president. And I wondered how many people voted for and against. And I asked a lot of people, and I know a lot of people voted against, but I didn't track the results. And I did the same thing in 2012 when it was Obama against Mitt Romney. Less people voted against, but still a lot voted against, but I didn't track the results. Then came 2016.
Dun, dun,
Dun,
dun.
dun, dun.
You learned your
And
lesson.
I did track the results. And I polled 280 people, right? So, you know, in those days you had a day planner. I finally gave up my day planner like a year ago because I couldn't keep all my meetings straight with my day planner anymore, but I loved my day planner.
I still use my paper day
You
planner.
still, yeah,
I
right?
love it.
I know. I've always loved it. Chris, you don't even know what that is.
I have one.
You have a paper day planner?
Yeah.
I love
All
that.
right. So anyway, on the back of it, I kept a sheet. For or against. I did not say the candidates. In fact, I told people, I don't want you to tell me who you voted, who you pulled the lever for. All I want to know is, did you vote for or against someone? In that year, 199 people out of 280 voted against, not for. That's 71%, okay? In that year, it was Clinton against Trump. She won the popular vote. She had 65,844,000 votes. Trump had 62,979,000 votes, right?
Yep.
But if you took away the 71% that actually voted against and you just kept the 29%, it was actually like 19 million votes versus 18 million votes, okay? Mm-hmm. Because it was so thrilling, I did it again in 2020, okay? This was, you might remember, Biden and Trump, right? Biden had 81 million or so votes.
Okay.
Trump had 74 million or so votes. But out of 425 people that I polled, 353 people voted against. That's 83%. Okay?
Okay.
That means only 17% of the people actually voted for one or the other. So if you reduce their votes by that percentage, that means Biden actually got 13 million votes. Trump actually got 12 million or so votes, around there, right? That's way less votes than it looks like on the surface.
Yep.
Then I did the same thing in 24. Now, I only had time to poll 186 people in 24, and 160 people voted against. Okay?
Wow.
Now,
What's that percentage?
that is 86%. 86% voted against, not for. Okay?
Okay, so I have a few questions. Should I interrupt you now or later?
Well, let me just tell you the total vote counts first.
Okay.
Trump had 77 million votes plus. Harris had about 75 million votes, okay? But if you see that they only got 14% of those votes each, they really only got 10,819,000 votes for Trump, 10,499,000 votes for Harris. That's not a lot. Then, Chris, how many votes were cast for independent candidates? Wait, don't forget your question.
I'll hold on to it.
Okay. How many votes were cast for independent candidates?
Total, it says 3 million.
So think about this. If you're, who were some of the independent candidates?
Jill Stein, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
So Gail?
Jill.
Jill Stein.
Jill Stein.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Chase Oliver, which is the Libertarian Party, and then Cornel West, who is a independent
Professor or something,
Yeah, he's
right?
a professor.
Okay, so if you're going to vote for one of these people, you're voting for.
For sure.
Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
I mean, you're not voting, I'm going to vote for Jill Stein because I want Harris or Trump to lose. Because you don't even know who your vote would go away from, right? You're probably voting for. Yeah. So if you look at all the votes, don't forget your question. If you look at all the votes that are for, you add 10,800,000 votes for Trump, 10,499,000 votes for Harris, and 3 million votes for independents as a group, right?
Yep.
That's like, if you add up all the votes, 3 million votes is 15% of the total votes cast for.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, right? It's a meaningful percentage.
It is.
Now, what was your question?
So you just did the recent history, right? The last,
Yeah.
And it seemed that the percentages of people voting against a candidate are increasing.
71, 83, 86.
Okay.
You're absolutely right.
So if we were to go way back to the first or the second election, right?
Yeah, John Adams against someone was the second
And we
election.
could pull those people.
Yeah.
Right?
In fact, I think the third election was John Adams versus Jefferson, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Because Jefferson beat Adams, I think.
Right,
so if we pulled that.
Right. Would the Americans of the time say that they were voting for their candidate or against their candidate? My guess would be that they were voting for a candidate. But I don't know if that's because I'm idealistic or because I'm projecting that they were more idealistic about their candidates.
Back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope.
Or maybe we've just gotten better at running campaigns and being divisive.
Oh, running negative campaigns.
Yeah, against the other party to make people question.
Except, you and I have been reading a lot of history for the last few years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're noticing that a lot of presidents had all kinds of haters.
True.
There was a lot of negative campaigns against them. Even if you go to Grover Cleveland in 1872 or something like that. No, 1880 or something like that. George Washington had a ton of haters. I remember that. There was a whole newspaper dedicated to anti-George Washington.
Yeah.
But so I mean, I'd like to think that they were more idealistic then.
Yeah.
And
Is there a different voting system in the?
That's a good question.
It says here, given the limited suffrage and absence of national popular vote system, the election results were primarily determined by electoral college with state legislation.
Oh, right. It was a different system. But, think about this, though. I have an interesting factoid for you.
It's still
You
voted
said
by the
you're...
electoral.
Okay, what about this? I didn't even think of this. You just said you like to be more idealistic, right?
Yeah.
you wouldn't have been able to vote in those elections.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
Because wasn't the 19th Amendment? Was it the 19th Amendment in 1919?
Yep.
Women's suffrage.
Yep.
So, Chris, look it up. I think it's the 19th Amendment. Women's suffrage. You couldn't even vote.
Right.
So even if people
So it
were
doesn't even
idealistic,
matter.
then
Yeah.
you weren't because you couldn't vote.
Right.
In fact, it was.
Yeah. 19th Amendment.
Wait a second. It was
That's by
the
Congress.
15th Amendment that enabled freed slaves to vote.
Yep.
So basically, back then it was all white men,
Yeah.
right, that
Yep.
were voting.
Yep.
So I don't know if it's a different, and like you said, it was a different voting system, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if people were voting for or against. What do you think about young people? What if I did that poll only with people between 18 and 20 years old?
I think
Would it be more for or against?
I would guess 4 more people. I know when I was younger and I made a vote, I felt like my vote counted.
Yeah.
And I
Against or
was always
for?
I was always voting for.
You did. What about
I
you,
did.
Chris?
I think it's 4 too, because just listening to my friends, the way they speak about a candidate, there's an element of like, oh, I hate that other person. But at the
That's
same,
against.
no, I'm just saying there's an element of that, but there's
Oh, okay.
also this. I believe in my candidate. There's a clear evil, and that's that guy or that person.
Wait. That sounds like they're voting against, though.
No, I'm just saying like they know who. It's not evil versus evil. It's like they're evil. This is
They're
the good
good.
person.
Okay.
The good guy.
So they're
What about if you polled 80 and older?
Oh, they're all.
Do you think
They're
they just get worse?
They're all angry.
Right. They're all just disheartened by the
totally
whole
kidding.
process.
Well, it used to be a joke, like the angry old guy, right?
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
like always a joke when I was a kid. Like old guys were always angry. Now that I'm inching toward that, I don't feel the same way.
You are not inching
No.
towards that.
Well, I mean, when I was 10 years old, I thought a 61-year-old was old, right?
True.
Although back then, I think they were a lot older.
Most 61-year-olds don't look as good as you do.
Oh, I like that. Good answer. But I don't know. I think that probably people, when I go to, my Tims,
Yeah.
they love one party and hate the other party equally.
Okay.
There's this group of
Okay.
elderly people that
Yeah.
that frequent the Tim Hortons that I go to all the time.
Yeah.
And they're the same, probably 25 people every day.
They're
and
like
they're
10 years
wearing
older than you.
shirts. And I'm not going to say what those shirts say because we're not picking any sides here, right? We're just talking about the issue of for or against. But they are, I'll give you an example. This one guy comes in with the shirt with the recent election with Harris and Trump, right? And I made a joke that, oh my God, I love the other side. I love such and such. The other side. I was totally joking because I didn't like either side, okay? But I was joking around and I got death stares. And I know these people. I see them all the time.
Oh,
They
yeah.
gave me death stares because they thought I wasn't goofing around. So they are certain that they love one and hate the other. So I'll bet you they voted for. I think they all voted for. But I think they voted for, and if there was a worse candidate for them, but they love their candidate this year, they would have voted against.
Huh. I wonder if it's like a bell curve. The older people and the younger people, and then somewhere in the middle, we're just disheartened by the whole process.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe because keep this in mind. That's interesting. I think you're right. There's the fringes on each side, right? The extreme right and the extreme left.
Yep.
They vote for their parties.
Yep.
They love their parties, right?
Yep.
The people in the middle, the regular people,
Yep.
the people that are focused on paying their mortgages and taking their kids to soccer practice, they are frustrated with the parties.
Yeah.
And they probably think, I don't like either of these because they're far to the right or far to the left. I want to just pick the one I can tolerate the most, which means I'm voting against.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because
I
more like,
know I don't want that guy.
yeah, that one's too
Or that
extreme.
girl.
I don't want either.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying me. I'm
Yep.
saying people in that moderate middle group. They're probably saying, I don't want either of these two,
Yeah.
but I want that person less.
Yep.
I can't tolerate that person being in
And I
office.
will say, as a public service announcement, at least they're voting. I would rather have somebody vote against a candidate, not just for a candidate, but at least go and vote. Don't you think? Versus, I think there's a
don't.
lot of people in that middle.
I
What?
don't.
You don't?
I'm going to say something heretical right now.
There
Okay?
it goes.
No, I mean,
You think you should only vote if you're voting for a candidate?
no. I see what you're saying, but you're right. I think voting for or against is fine if you know what you're voting for or against, right? Because what I thought you were going to say is just get out and vote. But I'm a big supporter in don't get out and vote. Study your candidates.
Yeah.
Figure out who you really want to vote for or against and vote. But if you don't know anything about the candidate other than, that you've seen their signs all over,
Right.
Or that you know one thing about them, like the color of their skin or whether they're a man or a woman or something like that, I'd be like, don't vote.
Well, what do you think? What would you say to people that are saying, I'm just going to vote strict party lines?
At least it's something that has a plan, right?
Yeah.
Because now they're saying, hey, I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican.
And this is how I vote.
I want to just support that side.
Yeah.
At least it's part of a plan, right?
And that's a 4, I think. If you're voting along party lines, you're voting
That's a 4.
for a candidate.
Yeah, I guess you're right. You're voting for a candidate then, as opposed to against. But when you get to the president, though, then it becomes more of it's individualized, right? Because when you just go along party line, click, 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 you don't even necessarily know who they are because a lot of these candidates they're not in the public light like the president and the presidential candidate. So in those cases, that creates more polarization probably. Yeah. But for regular folk, regular people that are not on the extreme right or left, they're probably like, oh my God, 2 more candidates that I just can't stand.
It's a dilemma.
But I can't have that person.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how about this? How about this idea? The ballot includes 4 choices. Let's just use Trump and Harris because they just ran, okay?
Okay.
Without disclosing anything about our own beliefs on this. I have a choice. If I want to vote for Harris or against Trump, or for Trump or against Harris, I have each of those 4 choices. I can vote for Harris or I can vote against Trump. I only get 1 vote.
Yep.
So it's either a pull the lever for Harris, pull the lever against Trump. In both cases, Harris gets my vote.
Yep.
The other side is for Trump against Harris.
Yep.
They get the vote no matter which you click.
Yep.
But now the candidates can see how many votes they actually got for them versus against the other side. So now they don't feel like, I got 77 million votes for me.
They all want
They
me.
love me, right?
Yeah.
77 million votes. That's a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
But what if it was like, oh shit, I got 10,819,776 votes, and my opponent got 10,499,883 votes. That's it. That's all we got. And the independents got 3 million votes.
Yeah, because then you get a better picture of what America wants.
It would be a clear answer because now there's still debate about, I'm not saying I support any of the candidates, but about Kamala Harris, right? It's like, well, the reason why she didn't get elected because no one wanted her. And there's like still ongoing debate. If that was in effect, then the result would speak for itself.
Yeah.
Right.
Then you would know, like, if one candidate, well, you'd have more information, right? Because then it would also give the winner, if they're enlightened at all, the opportunity to say, yeah, I won, but most of the country didn't vote for me. Right? So I need to think that I have to represent both sides now.
Yeah.
Because whatever I did not attract a lot of votes.
I won by this much.
And I only got 10 million votes for me.
Right.
I won by this much and I only got 10 million votes, right?
And I think the candidates might be in favor of it also, number one, for information, but also to prepare their next campaign. Like, it would be useful information
Go
for
back
them
to the
know.
drawing
To know why they almost, well, first of all, if I'm the Trump campaign right now, I'm thinking to myself, wow, I only won by like a couple of million votes. I need to worry about that. If I'm the Harris campaign or the Democrats, I'd be saying, wow, I almost won.
Right.
What was I doing right?
Right.
But either side is going, I still got a lot of votes, so a lot of people like me.
Yeah.
But really only 10 million, not 77 or 75 million. That's not that many. But here's the problem.
It also feels a little bit like, they get a trophy too, right? They didn't win, but now they feel a little bit better.
Right, they got
about
75 million votes, right?
Right?
But really they only got 10 million. But here's the other thing, though. It would be way too complicated because every little thing you change at that ballot, think about it. You go into the ballot box, first of all, you feel rushed, just naturally. I've been voting forever, and I feel rushed when I go in there like, where is everything? Like, what you're looking, there's like 20 names somehow. You're voting for like 4 roles, but there's like names all over. There's different parties. Which party line did you get? It takes you a minute to like get your bearings.
Yep.
Now you got, and how would we ever broadcast the fact that now you got to pick for or against Trump, and you're like, or for or against Harris? wait, hold on a second. I'm going to either vote for Trump or against Harris. What does that mean?
Yeah.
No one would get it right. It would take a lot of education.
Yeah.
And I don't mean it's a complicated thing, but you'd
Yeah.
have to really somehow educate the masses who don't really care to listen.
Right.
So that probably wouldn't happen. Another solution to the problem is
With AI.
get better candidates,
Oh, okay.
right? The parties should get better candidates.
Well, I actually think that this system, if we made people vote and say who they were voting for or against,
If we could pull it off.
would create better candidates because people would get a little bit closer to the middle. There wouldn't be so much divisiveness and so much, I don't know, maybe.
Oh, it would also make people think, wow, if Trump and Harris only got 10 million votes each out of 150 million people that voted, I got a chance,
Right?
right?
Yeah.
All I have to get is 15 million people to, although you got to get all the people that vote against the other side too. But the other thing is AI, right? AI, right? AI is doing everything. We already did a podcast on this, how it's
All
taking
right.
over every job and every facet of our lives.
So how does AI help with this
It
problem?
can take over voting too, because it doesn't really even have to be AI, honestly. It could just be like a series of questions that you are asked to decide who you want. Because let's say that you're a person who votes on an issue, which is, I just want to vote because it's a woman running or a man running. But it asks more than that, okay? It doesn't even ask about the gender. It doesn't even ask about the race. All it asks about is the issues that we face as a nation that they'll have to deal with as presidents, right? How will they deal with the budget crisis, right? How will they deal with the conflicts that are going on overseas? You know, give them a series of 20 questions. You got to answer these 20 questions.
Okay, but I have a problem with that.
What's that? Well, you don't know the punchline yet, which
Okay,
is
go ahead.
the system then picks your candidate.
Yeah, I kind of thought you were going that
But
way.
it's more than two.
What do you mean?
We could have 20 candidates in the ring.
Oh,
You know?
so maybe it would push them to an independent candidate.
It might push them to somebody that we're not even thinking about.
Okay.
And it could also include experience. How much experience? How old do you think this person should be? How many years in office? How many years in other jobs do you think they should have had, right? What's your problem with it now?
My problem with it is that AI can't tell the future, right?
You know I can.
AI can't tell the future, so it will give you an answer based off of the information that it has, which is based off of a campaign, which we know, maybe we don't know. What's the number of campaign promises that a candidate makes that they actually follow through with? So if I'm plugging into AI, this is how, AI tells me international politics, blah, blah, blah. This is how I want them to handle international affairs. It's going to say what they've said in their debates, but is that true?
Well, that's even, because that's what we're basing it on now anyway,
I know.
right? Because we don't know what they'll do. There was one candidate, I'm not going to
Yeah,
say
but I feel
one
like
president.
it makes people feel like, people read things on AI and they assume them to be true.
Right, I know. And candidates, though, whether the candidate's telling the truth or not, that's all we have to base our decisions on, is what they say they're going to do. But, there was one candidate, I'm not going to say who it was, one president in 2008, I think it was, that said the first thing he was going to do when he got into office was close down Guantanamo Bay. It's still open.
Yeah.
I think what happens is I'm going to give people the benefit of the doubt and say, I think they make promises that they really think they can keep, but they're naive because they've never been there. They've never been in that job,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Trump was saying he's going to build the wall in 2016.
Yeah.
He did build a big chunk of the wall, I think,
Yeah.
but he didn't build the whole wall
Right.
because it's harder to do than you think it's going
Yeah.
to be, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, so AI, for or against the AI or expert system deciding our...
I'm still undecided on that.
Okay, what about you, Chris? Do you want to not have people pull the lever for people? You just answer questions, and then it directs you to one of 20 possible candidates out there. And, okay, what about this? There's 2 rounds of voting. Anybody that's throwing their hat in the ring could be in this that could get it. Then AI takes the top 4 of those. Another round of voting, and then it diverts your vote to one of those 4.
I think why it's appealing, it's because if it's objective and not so much convoluted into campaign or what people's own personal feelings about the opposition, and AI just steps in and just has a very objective view about the candidates and the policies, then I'm totally for
And you know
that.
what it does? it forces people to vote for and not against.
That's true. Let me clarify one thing.
Okay.
When I go in to vote, am I doing it there or am I doing it on my own time at home? That way I go into the voting
No,
education.
you got to go in. You know
Yeah.
why? Because otherwise, people will be doing it for you.
No. Do I do the AI test? Like, ooh, which president should I vote for? Is
Well,
it an
it's gonna
app?
no, but if it's an app though, then people could do it for you.
Oh.
But the nice thing about going into the booth is you have to do it alone.
No. So I go to the app. I'm preparing to go vote tomorrow. I go to the app and I say, which president should I vote for? Maybe we should create this app. Maybe we should X this.
There
from
you
here.
go, right? Yeah.
And
No, but what's it going to do? So you go the day before,
I'm on my phone in my car
right?
at home
Right.
doing the questions. What do I want in a president? What do I want in a president?
Right.
It tells me this is who you should vote for.
No. It doesn't tell you who you should vote for.
Why?
It votes for you.
See, I don't want it to vote for me. I
But
want it.
Chris
I want it
does.
to tell,
I know you don't want it to.
I want it to tell me who it thinks I should vote. Then I have more information.
But you'd never do that though, because people make decisions emotionally and they back into it logically, right? Or they get facts to support. That gives you the opportunity to vote against, right?
Yes.
No, I
That's
think
true.
no. By the way, I love your idea because you're right. That would be a nice tool to have anyway to help people decide how they're going to vote.
Yeah.
Forget this whole thing about AI voting for us and my
Yeah.
stupid idea, which is answering questions and it just votes for you. I like that because it could give you it could help you make a decision.
Yeah.
You don't even know who you're thinking about yet,
Right.
right? Now it's going to give you. I like
And it
that
makes
idea.
you think about the questions.
Right. That's
the answers
way
to-
more practical than my idea because my idea will never happen, right? But
Think
your
about how
idea,
long people will be.
no, but your
voting.
idea is a good one because now people, especially in the early days of the primaries, when you got like 8 or 10 people that are
Yeah.
running, you could then find out who of those that you really like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I like it.
you like the idea of having it vote for you.
Because if, like, say you do the app, which, you have a better idea. Oh, I like this person because of the policies. But then if you're listening to all the white noise and all the, what your friends are saying or what the media is telling you, then suddenly like, oh, maybe they have some.
Maybe they know something I don't know.
I don't
But
know, guys.
they don't know-
Everybody goes to AI. You go to AI for everything.
No, but Chris, you like the app idea for
Yeah.
people who actually want to vote for themselves and not use my idea, which is have the vote be cast for you based upon your preferences.
Say I have my friend that we talk about. Say he does this app. He's still going to be like, well, he's a, whatever. He's controlled by this. I'm still going to vote for that guy.
Under Brandy's program, he could. Under my program, he could not.
No, he would like fill in the information and the vote is already made for him.
He wouldn't even fill it in on the app. He'd have to fill it in the booth.
That is
'Cause you couldn't do it with an app.
Gonna happen.
I know. It's a cool idea, though, because
idea.
you
But
do it
my
in the booth,
app,
though.
However, my
Could
app
happen.
would
Could
educate the people.
And now,
Which is
I don't
good.
want,
and I
don't
guarantee
want-
you, one of our million viewers is going to steal your app idea and make your app,
They are.
which wouldn't be so
Which
bad.
I'd be okay with
because we're
that.
not going to do it anyway, right?
And then maybe we'd have more people educated about the vote and at least having educational conversations about it, saying, "Oh, you know what? The app said I should vote for this independent because he lines up with my policies."
Yeah.
I agree. I like your app idea, and I hope somebody does it.
Somebody will.
Because it also, I mean,
Randy
first of all, it's
Basher.
going to be easy. It's going to be easy because you could probably today, without your app, just go to Gemini or ChatGPT and say, although, no, you then have to say
Go to
what you
Gemini or
want.
ChatGPT
No,
for
you
everything.
need questions.
Yeah.
So give me the top 20 questions. So it's really, what are 20 questions that I can respond to that can help a system point me in the direction of the right candidate?
Yeah.
But it might have to be there might have to be questions about like personality as well, right?
I think so. I think that's important.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, but we're not going to develop that app, and no one's going to go along with my voting idea except Chris. So there's only 2 of us, and there's 340 million people in the country, so we got 2.
Well, my friend who I told in the car that I claimed your idea as my own also agreed.
Okay, so we got 3.
We got 3 people.
So in other words, we have as many people who are supportive of my idea as we have viewers of our YouTube show.
All right.
Right?
All right.
Not bad.
Not
okay.
bad.
So it's like 100%.
My mom.
Oh, yeah. Well, she's one of our 3 viewers.
My mom's gonna vote for my app. She's my
She
mom.
is. You're right. You're right. No, she's my mom. I'm voting for your app, too. I really like your app. I want your app. You know?
Okay.
So anyway, I think that's a wrap.